Are the Lions the best team in the NFL right now, Brant? That's a question that I think we have to ask. I think they clearly are the best team in the NFC, but yeah, I mean, this is an absolute dominant performance against not a good Titans team. I don't think there's much to really talk about besides this is a dominant football team, and now they bring in the Packers. Another divisional game should be a very good game, an important game. But before we talk about that, Brant, I want to, as we're approaching the NFL trade deadline here, I want to get your thoughts on something. So obviously we know that Hutch is gone for the year, most likely anyway, gone for the year. Dan Campbell was asked at a presser after the Titans game. I think it was maybe on like Monday or Tuesday this week, specifically about the Lions need to make a move to replace Hutch on the edge. And Dan, I don't know if you saw that, Brant, but Dan Campbell got giddy. He got very giddy and was like, "Could be, could be." And they're like, "Well, like, what do you mean? Have you talked with Brad Holmes?" He's like, "Could be, could be." And so it leads me to believe the Lions are going to do something. I mean, maybe I'm reading too much into that, but coaches don't normally do stuff like that. Dan Campbell seemed excited, and it almost certainly seems like a Max Crosby's off the table. Maybe a Myles Garrett. What do you make of that? Who do you see them going after? Do you see them making a move for like Zadarius Smith, Trey Hendrickson? Like, what are the names out there? And do you think that they actually do go ahead and make a move here before the deadline, which I believe is just about a week away?
Dave, I don't know. It feels like maybe Hendrickson, Garrett are kind of pipe dreams. Those guys have been Pro Bowlers before, and I don't think that right now. Um, I haven't heard any smoke. You know what I mean? Like I just haven't heard any smoke on those guys. So it would be hard for me to believe that. I think there might be someone off the radar. Maybe I have kind of heard the Zadarius Smith thing, and I think that makes a lot of sense. But I don't know. I don't know who right now, Dave, is kind of working in the backgrounds. Holmes, obviously radio silence across the board from these guys. But Dave, I guess my question for you, I looked at Hendrickson's contract. I've looked at the Garrett contract. I understand where those guys are at. What do you think you would give up right now to bring in a guy that maybe isn't quite at the Hendrickson or Garrett level? I mean, are you willing to give up a third round pick, a fourth round pick? I know it just depends on who you're going to bring back, obviously, but where's your comfort level with that? Like, if you were to get a Myles Garrett, are you going to give up a first round pick, maybe two?
Yeah, absolutely, I would. And I think people are kind of split on this, and I get it. I don't think there's a clear cut answer. I mean, I understand why people are hesitant to move on from draft capital when you have seen Brad Holmes literally build this team that we're all enjoying watching. He has built this team through the draft with no sort of crazy free agent signings or big trades. We all wanted them to do it last year. You can argue that the Lions still should have made the Super Bowl. Obviously, they did not, to a good 49ers team. But I'm in the camp of make the move because to me, Brant, like the outside of the quarterback position, the edge is the most important position in the NFL. And when I think about not making a move that is not just for this year, but making a move, for a guy like a Myles Garrett or Trey Hendrickson, who you may have for the next 2 to 3 years, thinking of opposite side Hutch, and when he comes back healthy, like next year, I mean, you might as well just run this whole thing back. You got the best D line in the NFL. They already signed and locked up Aleem McNeil. You got DJ Reader for another year. By the way, DJ Reader, former teammates with Trey Hendrickson. I think that we got a move coming. I'm at on a scale 1 to 10. I'm at a 9.5, and I guess I think most people will. It doesn't surprise you that a trade is probably coming. I think it's going to be a significant one. I do. I'm at a pretty high confidence level. I think just based off what I saw from Dan Campbell this week, I think something's brewing here. I think by the time we record our next our next segment here on the Lions, we're going to be talking about a pretty exciting new face here for this Lions team.
Okay, Dave, let's say they don't get it done before Sunday. You go out to Lambeau Is that going to be a key to the game to you? Like, is that something that you think you've got to be able to get after Jordan Love? Like, you've got to be able to make plays. Like, obviously on the defensive line, that goes without saying. But I mean, do you think that could be a pendulum swing in this game where it's like, hey, we weren't able to get to Jordan Love enough, and now he ate us up?
I No, I don't. I don't think so. I mean, well, first of all, I don't think any move that's done right now, you're not going to have anybody for Sunday. But I see what you're saying in terms of like, is that the final? Like, oh no, we can't do this unless we make a move. I think the Lions are good enough to still compete for a Super Bowl as is. I feel pretty confident saying they are the best or the second, third best at worst team in the NFL. I think that this move puts you over the top though. And that's exactly why I'm all in on it. So I think they're going to do it. I think that I think something's brewing, and I think they could. I don't know what will happen against the Packers. I don't know if they will get this done or not. I know Jordan Love is probably expected to play, but he's questionable. I mean, we'll see. But yeah, I just something in me says that we should be expecting to move here soon. Brant, my question to you is, do you feel like the Lions need to make, like, is it necessary for them to make a move? We've obviously seen now 2 games where they've gotten it done without Aiden Hutchinson. For them to go win a Super Bowl, is it necessary at this point? Like they've got to make a move, and if they don't, you're like, that's a miss on Brad Holmes.
Yeah, Dave, I don't know. We talk about the depth all the time. Like, how could not be giving up a couple draft picks and bringing in a dude right now not help this team get to the Super Bowl? You talk about playoff runs. You talk about another injury. You're going to want dudes this year that are not going to be, hey, we just brought up a practice squad guy because guess what? We needed a warm body. That's not going to be acceptable this year. And if you fall flat on your face because you can't get the pressure in the playoff games, you're going to look back at these moments of where you didn't make the move and you're going to regret it. And I think that's why Dan Campbell is probably so kiddie. And, he probably knows Holmes is working his butt off around the clock, behind the scenes. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Finish your point. I was going to bring up just before we wrap up this segment. I want to get the line on this game against the Packers, which looks like the Lions.
I'm sure they're favored by a couple.
Minus 3.5 right now is what
And that's
I'm
interesting.
seeing.
It's very interesting to me, Dave. Jordan Love had a heyday, against the Lions last year. It was the Thanksgiving Day game last year. All the wind comes out of the sails. Jordan Love has a day, and then all of a sudden he's on this trajectory. They beat the Cowboys in the playoffs. Potentially should have beat the 49ers in the playoffs. I think that Jordan Love does something that the Lions historically have struggled with. He is not just a scrambler. He's a scrambler, and he can throw on the run. This dude is an absolute weapon. And that poses several problems, not just for the Lions, but for the NFL. Jaden Reed, we know, has come on really strong. Wicks is playing great ball. Dobbs is doing really well. And with Josh Jacobs back there, he has just been an absolute hammer for the Packers. And their defense has played well enough. So going into Lambeau has been a house of horrors, it feels like, for years. In the last couple of years, they've kind of bucked that trend. Dave, however, 3.5, it's a pretty steep it's a steep number for my betting.
Same here. I'd like to think that the Lions get it done. This one will not shock me if they drop this game, unfortunately. But we shall see. I would take Packers plus 3.5 if I did have to bet on this game. But look, I feel very confident in this team. I am at this point more excited to pick up my phone though and see the little alert symbol to say the Lions have made a big trade here. I think it's coming. I could be wrong. We shall see. But Lions 3.5 this weekend. I don't love it, but I'm hopeful that they can go in and get a divisional win. It's going to be a big one.